everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to learn about the LTSSM which was there in your PCIe protocol. So before that, let me ask you a very simple question. When you plug a PCIe SSD, GPU, FPGA card or any PCIe devices into a system, so how do both devices know how to communicate? How do they agree on the speed? How do they agree on the number of lanes? And how do they recover if an error occurs? And what happens if one side support PCIe Gen6 while the other side support only the PCIe Gen4? The answer to all these questions is there in LTSSM. So that's why we need to learn this LTSSM. So here your LTSSM stands for Link Training and Status State Machine. Think of LTSSM as the brain behind every PCIe link. Before a single packet can travel across the PCI interface, LTSSM performs a sequence of operations to establish a reliable connection. So in today's video, we will understand what LTSSM is, why it is mandatory, and what are the different major states which we have in PCI LTSSM. Then we will see how PCIe Gen6 enhance LTSSM, and then we'll finally see some real world debugging scenarios and interview questions also. So let's get started. Now that we know what LTSSM stands for, let's first understand exactly what it does. So see, what is LTSSM? So LTSSM is a state machine present inside the PCIe physical layer. So its job is to bring the link from an inactive state all the ways to a full operational state. So it performs four major functions. First is link initialization. The second one is when the power is applied, the link is not immediately ready. So LTSSM handles the entire startup process. Second is speed and width negotiation. A PCI device may support either 16 lanes while the motherboard may support only 8. Similarly, one device may support Gen 6 while the other supports Gen 4. So here the role of LTSSM to find the highest common capability. Third is power management. So it helps move between active and low power state. And the fourth one is recovery. So if error occur, so in that case LTSSM retrains the link without requiring a reboot. An easy analogy is our traffic management. Just like traffic light control vehicles at an intersection, LTSSM controls the flow of communication between PCI devices. Now let's understand why PCI cannot function without LTSSM. So see, why LTSSM is mandatory? So first one is, imagine connecting a PCI Gen 1 card into a PCI Gen 6 slot. Without LTSSM, both devices would try communicating at a different speed and communication would fail. LTSSM solves this problem through interoperability. So it automatically negotiates a common speed. Another important function is lane alignment. Sometimes PCB routing may cause lane reversal or polarity inversion. So LTSSM identifies it and corrects this condition. It also ensures the reliability. If lane is broken or disconnected, so in that case LTSSM detects the issue and configure the link accordingly. So a great real world example is connecting a GPU which is capable of 16 lane operation into a motherboard slot which has capability of only 4 lanes. So here the GPU still works because LTSSM negotiates the link width automatically. Okay, so now let's take a look at the complete LTSSM journey before diving into each state individually. So this is overall the state diagram overview. So the LTSSM journey can be summarized in 5 major stages. So first one we have that is detect, the second one we have that is polling, the third one we have configuration, and the fourth one we have L0, and the last one and the final one we have that is recovery. Okay, the process started detect. If a receiver is found, the link move into polling. So if a receiver is found, so the link move into a polling. During polling, device exchange training sequences. After successful synchronization, the links enter into the configuration. Now in configuration, assign lane number and determine the link width. Once everything is agreed upon, the link enter into the L0 state. Okay. Now if any error occurs later on, so LTSSM moves into the recovery state. Now think of it as a student joining a school. First the student is identified, then registration occurs, then finally class are assigned, and finally the student begins the normal learning. So this is how we have different states in LTSSM. Before understanding each state, let's see where LTSSM actually resides inside the PCIe architecture. So here you can see PCI consists of three major layers, that is transaction layer, data link layer and physical layer. Now LTSSM resides inside the physical layer. The transaction layer task is to just send the TLPs. The data layers ensure the reliable delivery, whereas the physical layer handles the actual electrical signaling. So LTSSM directly controls transmitter and receivers. So although higher layers are unaware about the LTSSM details, they depend on LTSSM to establish a working link. So without LTSSM, higher layers never get a valid link-up indication. Let's begin our journey with a very first state of LTSSM. That is nothing but your detect state. So detect is where everything starts. Here the goal is very simple. Find out whether a PCI device exists on the other side or not. That detect consists of two substates. That is nothing but your detect quiet and detect active. In detect quiet, the transmitter waits. In detect active, the transmitter sends electrical signals and look for receiver termination. Essentially, the transmitter checks whether another device is physically connected. A common debugging issue occurs when the LTSSM gets stuck in detect only. So possible reason includes missing power, first assertion or damaged lane or incorrect AC coupling capacitor. So whenever a PCI link never comes up, detect is usually the first state engine that investigates. Now once both devices discover each other, they begin talking for the first time. Now then we have the polling state. So in polling state, polling is the handshake phase. Okay, so here both devices exchange order set known as TS1 and TS2. These are training packets used to synchronize the communication. Three important things happen here. That is nothing but your bit lock and symbol lock. Then we have the capability exchange. So bit lock means the receiver synchronizes its clock with the incoming data, whereas the symbol lock means the receiver identifies valid data boundaries. Finally, device exchange supported capabilities. So in PCIe Gen6, polling become even more important because of PAM4 signaling and fleet operation. So if synchronization fail, LTSSM repeatedly retries. This is often a polling timeout issue. After successful handshaking, both devices need to agree on the final topology. Then we have something called configuration topology or configuration state. Now in configuration, it determines how the link will operate. So here three major tasks happen here: lane numbering, link width, selection and the DSQ. So lane numbering assigns logical identities to the physical lanes, whereas link width defines whether the connection operates as lane 1, lane 4, lane 8 or lane 16. Whereas in DSQ, it compensates for the timing difference between the lanes. For example, if an 8 lane link has 4 damaged lanes, so LTSSM may downgrade operation to 4 lane only. So this flexibility makes PCIe extremely robust. Once configuration completes successfully, the link is ready for the real communication. But before reaching the normal operation, let's discuss what happens when the link quality changes. So then it's come to the recovery state. So in recovery is one of the most important states in PCIe. So whenever signal quality degrades or speed changes are requested, so in that case LTSSM enter into the recovery state. So recovery perform equalization. Equalization fine-tunes transmitter and receiver parameter. So in PCIe Gen6 operating at 64 giga transfer per second. So in that case equalization become extremely critical. So poor signal quality can easily cause error. A common issue which engineer face is a recovery loop. Okay, so a link repeatedly enter recovery but never reaches to L0. So typical causes include for this, that is nothing but your signal integrity issue, either incorrect equalization preset, either PCB routing problem or excessive channel loss. So after successful training and optimization, the link finally become operational. So we have to move to L0 state. So L0 is the normal operating state. This is where the real data transfer occurs. PCI Gen 6 introduced fleet mode. Fleet stands for flow control unit. Each fleet contains 256 bytes. So Gen 6 also include FEC or forward error correction. FEC help correct PAM4 related transmission error. Combined with CRC protection, Gen 6 achieve extremely reliable communication at very high speed. Whenever application transfer data, the link spend most of its time in L0. But keeping link active all the time consume power. So PCI introduced power saving mechanism. Now let's look into the power management. So power efficiency is extremely important in modern systems. So PCI supports several low power states, that is nothing but your L0, L0P, L1 and L2. L0P is particularly interesting in Gen 6. Instead of disabling the entire link, here the selected lanes can be turned off dynamically. This reduces power consumption while maintaining bandwidth flexibility, whereas L1 provides a deep power saving state and in L2 removes the most link power entirely. So power management is especially critical in laptop, servers and even in AI accelerators. Apart from the normal operation, LTSSM also control some special purpose state, that is nothing but loopback, disabled and hot reset. So these three are the special state. So loopback is used during testing. Received data is transmitted back to the sender. Disabled indicates the link has been logically disconnected, whereas hot reset allows the software to reset the PCI connection without power cycling the entire system. So these states are frequently encountered during the validation and silicon bring up. Now let's discuss what makes the PCI Gen 6 different from the previous generation. So here you can see PCI Gen 6 represent a major architectural shift. The biggest change is PAM4 signaling. Earlier generation used only 2 voltage level, whereas Gen 6 used 4 level. This effectively doubled data throughput. Gen 6 also introduced the fleet mode. So additionally FEC become mandatory. So at 64 giga transfer per second, error correction is essential. So together this enhancement allows your PCI Gen 6 to achieve a significantly higher bandwidth while maintaining the reliability. Now let's see how engineers actually debug the LTSSM failure in real project. So see, while debugging PCI, always ask one question: which LTSSM state is failing? If stuck in detect, so check power rails and purse. If stuck in polling, so check reference clock stability. If it's stuck in recovery, so investigate equalization and signal integrity. If L0P handshake fails, so check data link layer messaging. A good PCI engineer always trace failure using LTSSM state transmission. So a state machine often reveals the root cause immediately. So before concluding, let's quickly review some interview questions. So a common interview question is, why did PCI Gen 6 move a fleet mode? So this is used to improve the efficiency and support forward error correction. The another questions which we have is, what is the primary difference in order set for Gen 6? So they are 1 byte to 1 byte encoded, and this is used for specific pattern to ensure the PAM4 lock. Then how does L0P differ from the L0S? So when you are using L0S, so entire link will get idle, or you can say entire lane will get idle. Whereas in L0P, dynamically lane will get idle. So suppose if you want to make only 2 lanes idle, so that you can do in L0P, which was not supported in L0S. Then we have what trigger a transition to recovery. So if there is any bit error or a speed change request happen, so it transition into a recovery state. So what happen if the lane 0 is broken? So in that case the link cannot train. Okay, so these are some of the interview questions which you have to know while facing your interview. So this is all for the today's video. If you have found this video useful, so just do like this video and also subscribe this channel. We are going to come up with some more videos like this for PCI protocol, and also we are currently running a DDR protocol. So just access that playlist and learn the DDR protocol. Thank you.